And good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here as we get set for qualifying for Division 1 of the Skittles Super Speedway Series. Getting ready for race number 6 on the year here at the Madrid Super Speedway. I am just going to throw this out here. I hope the frames are going to be better. I got a little bit of a tip from a guy that I race online with in terms of how to maybe make frames better. We'll see if it remedies the issue, because last week when we were at Dragonette, there were frame drops galore, and I'm sure it probably peeves some people off that watch it. It also peeves me off as I commentate it, so hopefully we have fixed the issue. We'll have to wait and see, but right now it's looking a lot smoother, which I am very, very happy about. So as we get set here for qualifying for this race, so far we have had 5 races and 4 different winners. The most recent of those, of course, Jessica Shelton last week in the Division 1 race at Dragonette. This track is a little over 2.5 miles. I think it's 2.66 exactly. This is actually, if you look at its configuration, almost kind of like a modified Talladega. A lot of similarities. You've got the tri-oval down here. The start-finish line is down between the tri-oval and the start-finish line. So this is, I guess you could call it a more updated, repaved, faster Talladega. Now, J.J. Roberts that we're looking at here just actually posted a lap, but it is not going to be a lap that counts as an official lap time yet because his pit stall was back behind the start-finish line. I'm loving the way the frames are looking right now. We had a little bit of a drop, but it's not too bad right at the moment, as Vance Caldwell runs behind the 81. Roberts coming into this race currently 25th in points. Caldwell, on the other hand, up in 3rd in the standings, but still looking for his first win. Same rules apply in this session as it has for the last couple of weeks. 10 minutes in the first round of qualifying. Top 10 speeds move on to round 2. Those 10 will decide the pole sitter. First official lap time going to be laid down by both Roberts and Caldwell. I think Caldwell's easily going to have the fastest since he was in the draft for most of it. 46.635 for Caldwell and 8.57 for Roberts. And Caldwell had to back off a little bit there as you see drivers coming out onto the racetrack here. Just ahead, there's Jose Mills, Roger Ray. Mills started his best start of the season last week outside of the front row at Dragonette to the pole sitter for that race, which was Eli Bright. Roger Ray's going to move around him. Roger Ray 24th in points coming to this race. Jose Mills, despite his good qualifying effort, didn't finish that great last week at Dragonette, and is 31st in the points coming into this race. And not really much of a change up in the top 10, at least for these 4 drivers. Ray moved up to 3rd, Mills currently 5th, and neither Caldwell nor Roberts improved on their lap time. Jay Jefferson there in the number 28. Jefferson had a good run last week, if I recall correctly, at Dragonette. I remember him up there at the front at least. Yeah, he finished 13th. However, he still comes into this race 38th in points. He headed into Dragonette last week dead last in the stand, so he's at least gotten out of the cellar, but certainly looking to continue to improve. Joshua Lee was so close to getting his first win of the season last week. He led us to green on our last restart, was unable to get the victory though. Jumped up 5 spots in the standings, however, as he's now up to 33rd in points. Finished out that race in the 14th position, and right behind him, the driver that eventually went to victory lane, Jessica Shelton, who proved last week the adage of super speedway races, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. Shelton started the race at Dragonette from 34th, went on to take the checkered flag. Now trying to get her second win of the season and second win in a row. Right now scored 16th on the speed charts. As we have a driver at the top of the speed charts, that is the 8 of Matt Haas. Let's see if we can find him. Matt Haas last week suffering some hardship as he was one of the 2 unlucky drivers that was in the Dragonette pit stall glitch. And I'm trying to remember who it was with. I think it was with Diego Yepes, if memory serves me correctly. Yepes was able to finish out the race. Matt Haas had to go to the garage area as the both of them warped into each other. And Matt Haas, as a result of that, finished out the Dragonette race in the 37th position in points, and as a consequence, that dropped him quite a bit in the standings as well, from 12th to 20th. Now, LaPlante jumped up to second there with a 46.148, but right now, almost a 46 flat for Matt Haas, the former Hershey's Cup Series champion, with a 0.95. Got William Duncan in this group, Ashlyn Boyd, who's been a qualifying machine this season. Seth Cole, I believe, right there at the tail end of this pack. Johnny Gardner, Jonathan Zorlin, and two-time winner Brady Burkhart there, the Mountain Dew Baja Blast Toyota. Burkhart, who last week took over the points lead coming into this race as Kyle Matthews and William Duncan hit pit road. See if any change here at the front as they are closing in on the 69 of Diego Yepes, and no changes. I noticed another car up here that is a former winner that's actually running good lap times and currently up inside of the top 10. There he is, Ryan Butcher, our winner from Armory, right now 4th on the charts with a 46.182. Now he's coming to pit road along with last week's pole sitter, Eli Bright. Bright currently sits 38th on the speed charts, the lone Dodge in this field. Two drivers I was really impressed with last week, Laurent Lamount and Derek Hamill, both drivers in Division 1 qualifying, had the pit road glitch I spoke of, and neither one got out on track and completed a lap in round 1 qualifying. Both had to start in 39th and 40th. However, both of them did a great job, despite starting at the rear of the field, to finish out the race. Lamount in 9th and Hamill in 10th. So Hamill trying to ride that momentum. As a matter of fact, Derek Hamill, with his finish inside the top 10, jumped up almost inside the top 20. He's 21st in points coming into this race. One of our pole sitters with a chance of maybe making it to round 2, our pole sitter back from Pigs Creek, the 70 of James Qualls. Let's see if we can find him. Right now he is, well, as soon as I will go back to find him, he just got knocked out of the top 10, now down to 11th. Jack Mitchell moving up into that 10th spot, and Mitchell is actually 2 cars right behind him, just ran the 10th fastest lap. Cody Smart also knocking on the door of the top 10, as he was 13th, now 14th. Ashlyn Boyd just knocked out Jack Mitchell. Now Boyd is in 10th. We saw J.J. Roberts earlier on in the session. He was one of the first cars out, as was Vance Caldwell. I guess going out early really helped them in terms of lap times. Right now they are 5th and 6th on the charts. Let's see if anyone from this group improves between Qualls, Smart, and Mitchell. And it's going to be Mitchell who's going to jump up to 8th. So now he's back up in the top 10. That knocks out Ashlyn Boyd with a little less than 2 minutes remaining. There's a little bit of frame drop still I'm noticing, but it's not nearly as bad as it was back at Dragonette. So now the 48 finds himself on the bubble. Jonathan Zorn, there he is. Hoping nobody can beat a 46.321. Got some drivers back behind him there in the draft of this group. Burkhart, Boyd, and Yepes, all of them still trying to get into the top 10. I think Matt Haas is surely going to get in. LaPlante, Gardner, Butcher, Caldwell, I think they're all good, running lower than 46.2s. Have to get around Eli Bright's going to kill the momentum of this group just the littlest of bits. Zach Winkle's up there, a couple of Fords up there actually. You've got 16 of Caldwell, his teammate Duncan in the 17, and also Zach Winkle in the 97. See if there's any improvement for Zorlin, or does anybody knock him out of the top 10? Nope, not this time. I'm looking at Ashlyn Boyd there in 11th place. Might be the one that might be able to do it. Ashlyn Boyd last week started from the 3rd position. I believe that Ashlyn Boyd, in the 5 races we've run so far, has made it into round 2 in 4 of those races, which ties him with Laurent Lamount, who actually, Lamount isn't even up here in the top 10. So all of a sudden, that team tapering off on their qualifying program, it seems. However, Lamount, we mentioned, finished top 10 last week after starting dead last in that race, so maybe poor qualifying results is what they need to be able to actually run well in the race. Let's see if Boyd can beat a 46.3, been in single file in this, and can indeed. 46.193, Boyd up into 10th, Eli Bright up to 2nd. He did it again for the second straight week, a last-minute move into the top 10. And who did that knock out? Because Zorlin is still in 10th. That knocked out Zach Winkle and Jack Mitchell. Eli Bright, the lone dodge in this field, all of a sudden their program in qualifying is picked up. 46.127, and that locks him into the next round of qualifying. I would watch for this 69 back here of Diego Yepes. He might get a pretty good lap. As William Duncan just got knocked down to 10th. Roger Ray cracked the top 10. He's now up to 8th. And that eliminated out Jonathan Zorlin. So with it right now, it is Haas, Bright, LaPlante, Gardner, Butcher, Caldwell, Boyd, Roger Ray, J.J. Roberts, and right now on that critical 10th spot is William Duncan. Now there's 16 seconds remaining. I don't know if they're going to still count this lap or not. Zorlin's hoping that they are because he wants to be able to displace William Duncan and get back in the top 10. Oh, I think time's going to run out. 3, 2, 1. So close. Are they going to count it? No, they're not going to get there in time. Zorlin, a couple hundred feet short, is going to miss out on making it into the second round, and just barely making it in by 4/100ths is going to be the 17 of William Duncan. So our top 10 will be moving on to the next round. Out of those top 10, I believe only one of them, nope, two of them are former pole sitters this season. Bright last week and Ashlyn Boyd, whose pole I believe was back, I want to say it was at Armory. Yes, it was indeed. They're going to try and be the first two-time pole sitter this season. They're going to be joined by Matt Haas, Austin LaPlante, Johnny Gardner, Ryan Butcher, the former winner at Armory, Vance Caldwell, Roger Ray, and J.J. Roberts, as well as William Duncan. And the 11th on down has been determined by this round of qualifying. Zorlin will start 11th, Winkle 12th, Mitchell 13th, Qualls 14th, Brady Burkhart 15th. The rest of the top 20 will be Jefferson, Lee, Smart, last week's winner Shelton, and Derek Hamill. You look on down through the remainder of the qualifying results, and for the second straight week, Laurent Lamount will be starting outside of the top 30 in the 37th position. So we'll have to see if another poor qualifying result brings about a good race result. Miles, Plurd, Tristan Folks, they'll all start at the rear of the field. Folks, I don't think had the benefit of draft from anybody, never even set a lap time in the 46s, whereas everybody else did. So our second round is determined with the 10 drivers that will move on. Let's find out who's going to be starting on the pole here today at Madrid. So as we get set to determine our pole sitter this week for the Division 1 race at Madrid, let's take a look at the top 10 drivers that did move on to round 2 and how important this is for them based on where they come into this weekend's race in the point stands. Now, Vance Caldwell is the highest of the drivers that made it here into round 2. Coming to this race as far as points are concerned. He is third in the point stands, and he comes into this race mathematically with a shot of leaving Madrid as the overall points leader as well. He's only 10 points out of the top position. Austin LaPlante, he is 8th in the standings coming into this race. Ryan Butcher in 12th. Eli Bright is 15th. Ashlyn Boyd in 16th. Johnny Gardner 17th. William Duncan, who just barely made it into this round, he is 22nd. Roger Ray is 24th. J.J. Roberts is 25th, and I believe those are the drivers that made it into this round. I believe I've not missed anybody. Oh, yes, I did miss somebody. Matt Haas. Matt Haas comes into this race 20th in the point stands. Everybody on pit road together there, and a couple are going to leave together. Ooh, that was interesting. See William Duncan slow up and allow Roger Ray to get ahead of him, so that means that Duncan is obviously thinking about getting a draft lap. His teammate Vance Caldwell right behind him as well, the Flying Aces International Ford Fusions. It's going to come down to a draft lap here for sure, because remember back here in round 1, the first two cars that went out on track were J.J. Roberts and Vance Caldwell. They were nose-to-tail single file in a two-car tandem, and their lap times were good enough to get into the second round. So I really think it's going to come down really to a two-car, maybe a three-car single-file tandem to determine who our pole sitter is going to be here today. And you also noticed how long it took for them to get around Jonathan Zorlin, a couple hundred feet away from the start-finish line before the session came to a close in round 1. So not a heck of a lot of time with only 5 minutes on the clock. Now almost 2.5 minutes, almost half the session gone for drivers to be able to lay down a lap time good enough to start on the pole. Vance Caldwell, he's up to the back bumper of his teammate William Duncan. So look for him to maybe jump to the top of the leaderboard and have a say in who's going to be the pole sitter. LaPlante's leaving pit road now. Butcher doing the same. Matt Haas by himself. There's last week's pole sitter Eli Bright just now leaving pit road. Ashlyn Boyd's by himself. Roberts might have some company in the form of Roger Ray, so it may end up coming down between Roberts, Ray, Caldwell, and Duncan for this pole, because they're the only ones right now that are formed up. Johnny Gardner tried to merge with this group, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to, and the first lap time is going to be laid down. Will it be Caldwell or will it be Duncan who'll have the fastest lap, because both spent a little bit of time in the draft? It will be Caldwell with a 47.1, Duncan with a 47.6. This is not going to help you get the pole. You cannot be running side by side. You have to be single file in order to get that lap time necessary to get the pole position. Right now, it looks like it could very well be a Flying Aces International front row, because right now they are 1 and 2, and they're the only two that are staying formed up as well. Roberts now getting in the draft of Roger Ray. If they stay the same way that they are, then they might have a shot, but I think we're about to have the precedent set right here by William Duncan as to what the lap time will be to beat for the pole. And remember, Duncan qualified into this round 10th, last car to transfer. And what is he going to say? He says you got to beat a 46.908. Caldwell with a 46.919. So I think right here is the car that's going to try and beat that lap time. We'll see if he can do it. Roberts, he cannot step out of line on Roger Ray. He has to stay tucked up to the back bumper of the Delphi Camaro. If he steps out of line, it's going to hurt his lap time. Looking good. He looks like he's closer to Ray than Duncan was to Caldwell. This could be a lap time maybe in the 46.8s. Let's see. Will he be able to top William Duncan's lap to the line? Roberts, 46.638. And a 6.22 for Duncan. They crossed the line. This is going to be the last opportunity. This is the lap that's going to decide it. It's going to come down between Roberts and Duncan. They're going to get one more shot. They're going to be able to make it around one more time. Session is complete, but they still have time to come around and complete this lap. It's going to be Duncan and Roberts. Look at these 46.6s by Duncan, Roberts, Caldwell, and Ray. Who is it going to be? Roberts, Duncan, they're going to be the ones to decide this pole. What's Roberts going to lay down? Can Duncan beat it? Roberts is going to lay down a 46.695, not fast enough, and Duncan was slower his lap time as well. It'll be William Duncan with a 46.622. That is going to sit on the pole for this weekend's race at Madrid. I thought maybe they'd improve on their lap times that time around. It was not the case. And I believe the session has come to a close. I don't think they'll make it back to the line in 20 seconds unless they're going to count this lap. If they do make it around, are they going to count this lap? Is that in any way possible? And if so, will they count it? We're going to watch Robert's lap time here. Does it improve? Do they count it at all? They do not. They do not count his lap time, nor do they count Duncan's. It's official. William Duncan, who just barely made it into the second round of qualifying, will get his first pole of the season with a 6.22. Roberts going to break up the front row for Flying Aces International as he will start second. Caldwell will be third. Ray will be fourth. Those two did the hard work for Duncan and Roberts to start in the front row. Matt Haas, who was the fastest in round one, he will start fifth. LaPlante in sixth. Boyd, Butcher, Gardner, and last week's pole sitter Bright, they will make up the top 10. 6 races, 6 different drivers starting on the pole. Duncan, the most recent of those. Thank you all for tuning in to this qualifying session. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to be part of the crew today. You will see these drivers have their race here tomorrow night at Madrid. And stay tuned, later on this evening, Division 2 qualifying will take place here from Madrid. Their race will be coming up on Sunday evening. Till tonight's Division 2 qualifying, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of NNSCRA Offline Racing at its Best. William Duncan grabs the pole position here at Madrid.